In this lecture, we are going to know about different types of constraint in sketches. Constraint means restriction on the movement. Now to understand this, I will go to sketch mode and then I will select a plane. So let's say I will select this top plane and then click sketch. I will turn off the plane display and make sure the constraint option is checked from here. I have made a uncheck on the dimension display. I don't want to show the dimensions. Now if you go to this constraint dialog box, you will see multiple types of constraint. The first one is vertical, tangent, symmetric, horizontal, midpoint, etc. So we have many more constraints. Now in Creo, we have two ways of applying the constraint. One is automatic way. Automatic means the software automatically detects the type of constraint. Second option is by manually. So we can apply the constraint manually. In this lecture, we are going to learn how can we apply the constraints manually. To understand this, first of all, I'm going to go to line command. So I will go to line chain and let's say I create a line like this and then press escape. So this is an inclined line. Now if I want to make this line a vertical line, to do this I will go to this vertical option and then select the line. Now you can see symbol of vertical is highlighting here. If I press escape, this symbol is representing the vertical line. It means this line has been constrained to vertical. So if I pick and try to move this, you can see I can move this up and down, but I cannot rotate this. But when I select any single line that is not constrained, let's say I draw a line once again like this, press escape. So I can move any of the point. Take the mouse onto the point, hold down the mouse and drag it. You can see we can rotate it, move it, etc. If I want to move this part, just select the line and then drag it. Because right now this line is unconstrained while this vertical line is constrained. Similarly, I can also constrain the line to make it horizontal. I will go to this horizontal, select this line. Now this line has been made horizontal. So now I can change the dimension. If we want to change the dimension, we just have to make a check on dimension menu so that dimension will highlight and then we can change the dimension. So let's say this is 100, press enter. So this is the first way of inserting the constraints manually. Now let's say I will make a line. So draw a line like this, any inclined line. Now one more line. Okay, I will turn off the dimensions. Now I want to make these two lines perpendicular with respect to each other. To make this line perpendicular, we will have to go to this perpendicular constraint. Now it is asking us to select two entities to make them perpendicular. Select the first line and select the second line. Now you can see the symbol of perpendicularity is highlighting. When I select this perpendicular, you can see both items will highlight. It means these two lines are perpendicular. You can also see the color of line is changing. Now you see that I have made these two lines perpendicular, but still these two lines are not touching with respect to each other. If we want to make two sketches touching each other, we have to use the coincident constraint. Go to coincident, select the first line and select the point. Now you can see these two are touching each other. Also one more thing you can see, if I go to this constraint, click on this, it is going to highlight constraint point on entity. Now one more constraint I want to apply is, I want this line at the exact midpoint of this line. For this we have a constraint that is called midpoint. So go to midpoint constraint. First we need to select the line and then select this point. So now you can see this perpendicular line is exact the midpoint of line. So one more thing we can see here, on a single sketch we can apply multiple constraints. So here we have applied the perpendicularity, we have applied the midpoint and we have applied the coincident constraint. So next type of constraint we want to apply is the tangency. So let's say I have a circle like this and then I have a line. So these two are not touching each other right now. First I want to make them touch each other. So I will go to constraints like this line and select this point. So dimension of the sketch will automatically change until we change the dimension. Once we change the dimension will change to strong dimension. Then the dimension of sketch will not change automatically. But still there is only one constraint, that is coincident. So I will go to tangent constraint, select the circle and select this line. Now you can see the additional constraint, that is coincident constraint highlighting. So you can see tangent constraint is highlighting. Next constraint is making two lines parallel with respect to each other. Let's say I have a line like this. Press escape, then I will draw one more line. Press escape. If I want to make those two lines parallel with respect to each other, we can use parallel command. Select the first line, select the second line. You can see symbol of parallel is highlighting. So when I click on this parallel symbol, these lines will be highlighting. Also we can make these lines of equal length. For this I will have to select the equal, select the first line, second line. Now these two lines are of equal length and both are perpendicular. Also let's say I have a circle like this. I have a smaller circle and a bigger circle. And then I want them of equal radius. So go to equal, select the first circle, select the second circle. Now when I go to this dimension, make a check on this dimension. Let's say I will change this dimension to 400. So at this point the dimension of both circles will change simultaneously. We don't need to change the dimension of this circle additionally. And next important type of constraint, that is the symmetric constraint. So you can see the symmetric constraint. To understand this, let's say I have a rectangle. So I will draw a rectangle like this. Press escape. Now I will draw a center line. So let's say I draw a center line here, another line here. Sometimes when you draw the rectangle, we need to make them symmetric with respect to any reference. Let's say right now I will make and check on the dimension. Okay. So I want to make this rectangle symmetric to this vertical center line and horizontal line. To do this, I will go to this symmetric. Here it is going to show select a straight reference and two vertical references or point. Now to make it symmetric, first of all we need to select the reference center line. This is my center line. Then select this point and select this point. Now you can see this center line has moved to the center. Similarly, if I want to make this symmetric with respect to vertical axis, select this center line, select this edge and this edge. So in this way we can make it symmetric. Press escape and you can see symbol of symmetry is highlighting. So in this way we can apply different type of constraint in the sketches.